Hey everyone, welcome in. This is Crow, and we are doing a stitch with me today for our new start this week, which is Gallery. Artwork is by Jan Patrick Krasney, and it is charted by Charting Creations. I need to turn my. I have a warmer for my coffee so I can drink it without it getting cold, because then I won't drink it. So I just wanted to turn that down. I need thread. This has 196,350 stitches. I need 780. So I'm stitching this on, or going to be stitching this on 22 count. I got what am I trying to say? A bunch of it from AliExpress that was really cheap. It's really all I use that for is to get myself fabric for. That's why I'm able to start all of these and can afford to start all of these, is because I get most of my fabric from there. And then I just chop off what I need for a project, and I use my sewing machine. I had a sewing machine and it broke, and I've been too lazy to go take it in to get fixed. So I just use the Drizzt. Is that what it's called? Drizzt? Like fabric glue that it prevents that. Excuse me. Prevents it. You put it on the edges, and it prevents it from fraying. And it has worked fabulously. So I just prep that when I get my fabric ready, and cut and prep the edges with that, and then once it's dry, get started. So how's everyone doing today? It is currently Thursday. Jesus. April 3rd, 2025. It's a lovely, rainy, cloudy day here, and I am in my element. Really loving it. And I think it's supposed to rain all weekend, which I am excited about because I love the rain. Rainy days, cloudy days make me happy. I'm not one for sunny days, honestly. Shenanigan likes to text on sunny days and be like, "Oh, it's such a beautiful day." I hope you're enjoying it outside. And I'm like, nope. But hope y'all are having a good day. Have had a good week so far. Oh my goodness, I'm not stitching. I have this at a odd like a little bit of a different angle than I usually stitch with, so that you can see it a bit better. So it's coming more top down for you. But it's making it a little bit harder for me to see what I'm doing. But it's fine. We'll get the hang of it. I hope. I know the last stitch with me, I talked about April Fool's Day, and y'all, I hope y'all weren't affected by it, because let me tell you, do I have a story for you? And for once, it's not a shenanigan story. For once, it's a shenanigan, but it doesn't involve her. So, I don't know what's happening. So, but this is why I hate April Fools, and why, like, people, the jokes, quote unquote, jokes that they do. I got really confused there for a second. Just aren't funny. They're cruel, and mean, and at the expense of others. So there is a local shop that sells my candles, and um honestly, that is where currently about 80% of my sales come from, is this shop. Um, it is not wholesale, so I can track my inventory there and put in, like, take in what I want, etc. Um, so that's about where 80%, like I said, 80 to 90% of my uh, income comes from. And they post a lot, and share different, it's all small businesses, and so they'll tag and feature different products and tag us, and etc., etc. So um, I got a notification that they had tagged me in a post, and like I said, I usually like to stay away from social media on April Fools. However, because I was tagged, I was like, oh, they're just doing a post. And I honestly had forgotten that it was April Fools, to be quite frank. And so I just went and I was like, oh, because, I'll share it and etc. And they had tagged me and another small business that they sell, that makes soaps. And that they were excited to announce that they were phasing out our products in favor of another company. And I panicked because I thought it was real, and like, started checking my emails, like, well, surely they would have told me. And like, did I miss something, going back through my messages, and started to have a panic attack, because again, where a significant portion of my business income comes from. And uh, couldn't find anything. And then I went back to the post and read it again, and kind of was like, started to see some people comment about, oh, you didn't get me or whatever. And then I thought, oh my gosh, it was an April Fool's. And I completely lost it. I broke down in tears. I went into Dar's office and just, thankfully he wasn't on a meeting, and I just bawled like wet, snotty, not able to breathe, crying. Just like completely broke down. And then was completely out of it for the rest of the day. Like, I just couldn't. I stitched. I just kind of was I didn't cry, but I kind of like just felt, you know how you feel like you're gonna cry and like it doesn't happen, but you kind of, it's like it's like right there. For the rest of the day, it was like that. Then yesterday I was still pretty distraught from it, and hung out in a friend's Discord in their quiet room, just so like I had company, but it wasn't, I didn't need to literally listen to anything, and just stitched. Um, but I had company, like if I, we could chat over text and whatnot, but uh, and part of me is like, okay, I should have realized right away that they wouldn't do that, but quite frankly, I don't I automatically always think the worst of anything, any situation, doesn't matter what it is. I automatically think the worst. Um and seriously thought that was what they were doing and hadn't told me about it. Um so that was not a good was not a good Tuesday, or yesterday really. I'm okay now, but it was definitely. Dar said, "Well, at least you'll have an example when you film next of why you." And I said, "Yep," because it's that kind of shit that it's not funny. It really isn't. Um, I could kind of see it if you wanted to just do it to the customers. Okay, I guess. But me and the owner of the other business, I don't know them, but like we should have been told, in my opinion, ahead of time, and have been said, hey, we're gonna do this for an April Fool's. Like it's our livelihoods, it's our business, it's our income, it's how we support ourselves and our family. Like that's not funny. So I wasn't able to make candles yesterday because what I'm doing at the moment is a restock for that shop, and I I just couldn't. I just couldn't. This looks a little fuzzy. Try to improve the focus a bit. There we go. I think that's a little better. Um, so this weekend I'll get back to doing a restock for that. And or tomorrow, I should say. And this weekend, and make up for the 2 days that I didn't do this during the week. But I hope none of you had any bad experiences with April Fools, and if you did, just know that I feel for you, and it's definitely uh, something I wish more people would speak out against, because I think a lot of the people who do those sorts of things don't realize how it affects people. And so if you did have a bad experience, I really feel for you, and I totally understand and get it. And offering internet hugs if you so choose to accept them. So that's been my week so far. Got a lot of stitching done though. Well, not really on Tuesday, but yesterday I did. Did I work on yesterday? Oh, I worked on cheese delivery because I'm stitching that for Bandit's um, community sal for the month because it's her birthday month and she chose April. That's wrong. She chose animals for April. I think I did that on my floss tube too, didn't I? She chose April. She chose the theme animals in April. Jesus. And so I chose, I mean, a lot of my whips would count. Most of my whips, honestly, would count for that. But I chose cheese delivery because it's one of my priority pieces for the child. And it has mice and a ferret. I'm not at any of the animals yet, though. The next diagonal, or maybe the one after that, I'm not quite sure, I will get one of the mice. So it's coming up. But I did finish a diagonal on that. I think, did I finish it? The diagonal? I think I did. So I worked on that. And then I spun the wheel and I got Heart of Black and White, which I worked on. Got a diagonal done in that. And then one that has not come out for a very long time that landed on Hugin and Moonin. I don't remember the artist. I want to say Christopher Lovett, but I feel like that's wrong. Lovell? I don't know if he's the artist for that though. But it is charted by Unconventional X Stitch, and I haven't worked on it for quite a while. I love the piece, and I just don't know. I don't know what it is about it that I think it's because it's all light colors where I am at the moment. And when I had started it, I was not doing diagonals yet, so it was a bit difficult to work on for me. But when I got it out, when the wheel landed on it, today I started converting it to diagonals, and it's so much better. So that was nice. Ooh, look at this, 3826. Jesus. Pretty colors to start with on this one. I think I have a piece of, I don't know, the floss tube, itchy nose or whatever. I feel like I have a piece of fluff, like, fiber from the thread in my throat. And I can't, get it to move along. Move along, please. Excuse me. One of the Flosstubers I really love is Laura from I Stitch Birds. I'll try to remember to tag her below. I've been watching her for a while, and she's Finnish but lives in Australia, and I love her so much. She's very she's very open about excuse me. I'm saying there's like a piece of fluff in there. Um she's very open about everything, like things like her depression and anxiety, and it just it is so real and down to earth, and really shares what she does to work on those things, and uh, just the openness is so refreshing, quite frankly. And I do love her channel, and she just posted. I've been actually doing a marathon lately and going back and watching all of her videos from the beginning, which I do with periodically with various Flosstubers who are my favorites. I do that. Um, so, but she's the one I'm currently working on, I should say. Currently watching from the beginning. That was a odd statement. But she posted her latest Flosstube. Was it earlier this week on Monday? And she shared that, so last year she stitched for the Tour de France, and there's one in Spain, but I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, basically like a bicycle tour, race tour in Spain. And there's one in Italy too, the Giro d'Italia, and I didn't know that. I'd never heard. I'm not much of a sports person, so I'd heard of the Tour de France. Like, I feel like everyone probably, like, that's the one. If you know that's the one, right? But so what she's doing is, it starts in May, and she's doing all three this year, and she takes I don't know, like, what are they called? Stages? Or, I don't know, like, each day, whatever they bike in kilometers, she stitches on a project. And so by the end of the event, you have, I think there's a little over 3,000 stitches for the Giro d'Italia by the end. So, it's not a lot of stitches a day. There are some rest days, I think. But, it'll be like 160 stitches, or whatever the kilometers total that they race for that day is what you stitch on your piece. And so I am going to join in and give it a try, because it's sort of like the temperature stitching that a lot of people are doing, like Jen the Caffeinated Crafter, and I know Dizzy Stitcher is doing it, and but it's only like a month or so, so it's not. I feel like I won't get burned out by it, or bored with it, and it'll be a good way to get about 3,000, little over 3,000 stitches into a piece. So, I don't know what piece I'm going to do yet. I think I'm going to pick a couple, or maybe spin a wheel a couple times, and then have you all vote between the two that the wheel picks. Because otherwise I'll just be waffling about, trying to decide, and it'll be like, even I'm just thinking, okay, well, do I want to do full coverage? Do I want to not do full coverage? Like, do I want to pick something that maybe I could get a finish or close to a finish on? What do I want to do? So I think I'm just gonna, what I might do is spin, well, because there's 3 events total, right? So I could do like full coverage for 2 of them and then non-full coverage for 1 of them or something like that. I don't know. I can't even decide about that. But I'll pick, and then closer to the start of the event, I'll show you in my floss tube and kind of give you some stats on the 2 that were picked from the wheel and whatnot, and then y'all can vote in the comments. Because I don't want to do a poll like in the post tab, because I want to be able to talk about each one and kind of give you all like information of how far along I am and like how big the piece is, things like that. Because I feel like that might, unlike a Stitch with Me, right, for this event, that things like that might sway your opinion a bit, or your choice, your vote. So that's fun, and I'm excited. I have a spreadsheet already set up in my Google Sheets with each day and how many stitches, and a checkbox field for when I get that it stitched, the day stitched. So I'm excited. I know it starts in May, but I don't remember the date off the top of my head. It's in my spreadsheet. So that'll be fun. I'm excited to give it a try. And like I said, because it ends after a month, it's not an ongoing thing that I'll get burned out on or anything like that. Speaking of polls, though, we had a tie in our last poll for the Stitch with Me, the Silent Stitch with Me. And Farewell to Lothlorien and Unafraid of the Thorns were the 2 that tied. They both got 31% of the votes. So Lothlorien was first in the list, and Unafraid of the Thorns was second. So I rolled a 2-sided die, and it landed on number 1. So Lothlorien will be the piece that will be stitched in the second Stitch with Me this week, which will be the same format as the Awakened one that was posted on, is it Tuesday? It's silent, so unlike this one, I'm not talking, and I just play rain sounds in the background. So if you don't want to listen to that, you can just mute it and listen to whatever else you'd like. You won't be missing me saying anything. If you want to listen to the rain, go for it. I find the rain noises quite relaxing, but I know that's not everyone's jam. So did have someone say that it was perfect for when they were in a meeting, because they could watch me stitching, but didn't lose their concentration in the meeting. So I thought that was really neat. dropped my needle. Get in there. Okay. I also want to film a kit parade of kits I have that I have not yet started. And marking my pattern off. I gotta go down here one. And a cross stitch book parade. I don't have many, but I do have a small collection. You know what? I'm just gonna add this. Which I thought might be fun to show. No, I didn't park that there. Oh my god. Here we go. Okay. The sun's coming out and it's distracting me. Just had the conversation of that I don't like the sun. Like, look, I'm just a little ray of pitch black sunshine. Like, that's me. Thank you. So I thought those would be fun to do. Oh, I need to close my curtain. This is getting ridiculous. Don't like the sun. So I don't know when I'll get those filmed and up, but those are plans for some extras. And if you all have any ideas for any other extras you'd like to see, feel free to share. Put it in the comments. I still need to do... Ooh, that's one thing I wanted to do. There is in the post tab a post where you can share, or not share, you can ask questions and then I will answer them in Stitch With Me. And I originally was going to do like a specific Stitch With Me where I would answer all the questions in one go. And then I thought, I don't know how long it's going to take. I might have to break it up into two. And then I thought, well, if I have to break it up anyway, why don't I just answer a question each time I do a talking Stitch With Me. And then I almost forgot about it. So let's do that. Let me get it up. Okay. Let's scroll down. Let's see the comments. Okay, so I'm just gonna go top down. I've hearted all of them, but if I like your comment, actually I'll reply with a black heart. So if I reply to your comment with a black heart, that means I've answered your question in a Stitch With Me. We'll do it that way. Um, okay, so the first one, I'm just going top down. The first one says there's a few questions in one. So the first one is, when did you start stitching? So um I think this might be a question in another comment, but I'm self-taught, and I started when I was about 8. um 8 or 9, with kits. So my dad had cancer when I was young, and died when I was young, but first got it when I was about 8 or 9. And so to keep me kind of, we were in the hospital quite a lot, and so I was always like into crafting and things like that. And of course, it was before the, you know, the internet, video games, phone, that kind of stuff. So my mom got me some cross stitch kits, and I just started teaching myself, read the directions that come in the kit, of how to, and just started from there. And I'm 43, so I don't know. How many years is that? It's a long time. And on and off, like, when I was in college, I didn't do it as much and things like that. So it's not been a constant this amount of stitching. But yeah. The next part of her question, or actually, I shouldn't say her, because I don't know. The next part of their question is, were you enabled by a crafty friend or family member? So, sort of, like I said, because my mom bought me the kit, the kits. My baba, um, who I never met her. She died before I was born. However, she was a big, they were poor, and so a lot of the things that she did, she would sew, right? She'd sew their clothes. She'd sew um, curtains. She'd crochet. She'd cross stitch. And so we have and still do a lot of her things, um, that were saved, that my mom saved and then like kind of passed down. And a lot of the cross stitch that I have from her, actually all the cross stitch I have from her, is um, traditional Ukrainian patterns. Um, so I don't know if I was necessarily, like, obviously not enabled because I never met her, but enabled by the fact that I saw the things that she had done in her lifetime, and um, wanted to kind of carry it on, if that makes sense. My mom could not. She wanted to, but she couldn't for a variety of reasons. Um, so she wasn't able to teach me or anything. It was all just me being self-taught, but seeing the things my baba had done and wanting to kind of continue that forward. So, and then the third part of the question is, what's your favorite finish so far in your stitchy journey? And this is an easy answer. However, it might come as a surprise to some of you. And it's one that none of you have seen unless you messaged me and I shared it with you in a private message, because it is not appropriate to share, certainly on basically anywhere on social media. And that is non-harvesting phalluses. Part of the Medieval Marginalia series. I forget the designer. Something with a K, which isn't really very helpful to you. But anyway, they're on Etsy. I found them through Etsy. And they had taken images from that were doodled in medieval manuscripts. There's a series of them. I think there's 4 total, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. And made them into cross stitch patterns. So, the one that I finished, it was my first finish from this year. Actually, yeah, from this year, my first finish. And I've finished a lot of things in my lifetime, and this is by far my favorite one so far, because I mean, really, where do you go after that? But it is a nun in a green habit, like on this side, and then over next to her is this tree, and she's holding a basket. And the tree has phalluses, and then she's picking the phalluses from the tree and putting them in her basket, and so there's phalluses in the basket. And coming from a very Catholic family, growing up, well, they're all still Catholic, but anyway, that's a different story. Growing up in a Catholic family, let's put it that way. My aunt is a nun. My aunt's a nun. I just found it freaking hilarious because, I think this was from a manuscript from oh God. I remember it saying, was it the 12th century? 13th century? I don't remember the year. But I mean, like, that long ago. And she shows in the pattern, you get the information about the book that it was in, that was found in, and like when it was printed, what it was about, etc., and the year, which I forget, obviously. And like, there's a picture of the actual manuscript with the doodle in the corner. And so, like, you can see it was actually a thing that was drawn in the margins of this manuscript. And I just found it, it's like I dyed my own fabric for it, and it was so fun to stitch, and it was hilarious. And it's hanging, it's the first thing you see. I hung it on our wall, right? So when you come in the door, it's like eye shot, the first thing you see when you walk into our house. And it is by far my favorite finish. And I remember when I finished it, I kind of, usually when I finish things, I'm like, all right, next, let's go, right? But this was like, I was like, where do I go from here? Like, how do I get better than this? Where do I go? I couldn't. It took me a while, like, to switch to something else, figure out what else I wanted to do, because I was like, this is the peak. This is the peak of my stitching career, and I don't know where to go from here. So that is my favorite finish, and I cannot show it to you because it is, like I said, and by the time you would censor everything out, there really wouldn't be anything left. But if anyone does want to see it, I message me on Instagram. I do check that every once in a while. Or if you're in my Discord, you can send me a message on there, and I can send you a picture. But yeah, that's my favorite finish. Actually, I'll leave a heart and then I'll say answered. I'll do that after the fact. I should probably leave which stitch with me I answered it in. So yeah, you would think I would say like one of the full coverages I finished, or no, it's the non-harvesting penises from a tree. That's my favorite finish. And part of me enjoys it because, like, I just think it's funny. Part of me enjoys it because of the history aspect that, it is part of a historical document. Part of me loves it because it's like people were always always had dirty minds and always had to, like, we really haven't changed much in the history of mankind. We really haven't. There was always that kind of humor and like immature sort of immaturity going on, and I just think it's great. There's another one. That's the only one I've stitched. I think are there four? I know there's a one that is a cat licking its butt, and you can see its butthole. Um, and then there's one of like a dude like holding a trumpet, like he's basically farting into a trumpet. Essentially, is what's happening. I mean, there's no other way to to mince around that. It is what it is. And I don't know if there's a fourth one. Maybe there's only three. But those are the other two that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm not gonna stitch them. Like they're funny, but I'm not gonna. It was really the nun that I wanted to do. But it's the same thing with those other ones as well. They're from the manuscript, and I would imagine same thing that with the nun, that there's information about the manuscript or the book that it was in, the manuscript that it was in, pictures of the page that it was drawn on, things like that. I would imagine. I don't know, but okay. Okay, let's do one more. The next one, again, is multi-part. The first one is what's your favorite finish, which I just answered. The next one is have you ever finished a full coverage piece? And the answer is yes. I have finished three full coverages. Um, One I do kind of regret because it was I don't want to say I regret it. That's a weird, it was for shenanigan. Okay. And the subject matter, I mean, it ended up being gorgeous in the end. Like it did end up being gorgeous, but it's not something I would have chosen for myself to stitch. So, I want to say I regret it, but I would have rathered doing having done that for someone else, which is, oh damn it, there's one of those down here. Hold on. Which is why I now am very picky about um who I stitch things for. But yeah, I finished 3. I don't know which one was. I put them down, and now I don't know which. I think it was that one. You know what? It really doesn't matter. The second one I finished the beginning of 2020, or yeah, in January of 2024. And which was a smaller one, for our bedroom up here, and then I finished Raisin this year in February, which she will be going to the Framers next. Once I save up some money and get my next shipment out, she will be going to the Framers and will be eventually hung up on the murder wall. Then the next part of this question is, what full coverage piece are you working on that's the furthest along? And that currently is Halloween Night. Artwork is by Edor Jose Rosa. It's charted by Stitches So Beautiful. And it's the furthest along percentage wise at 26 point something %. So, and that will hopefully be a finish this year. I really want it to be. Fingers crossed. Hoping. Then the next part is, what's your largest piece? And I should have researched this, but I didn't because I forgot I was going to do this. Let me just mark this down. But I think it is Mystical Forest, by the Cross Stitch Studio. And I think it has 600 some thousand. I don't think I have one that's bigger than that. So I think that's my biggest piece. And then the last part of this question is, what's your setup like for your Stitch With Me's? So I'm not fancy over here. I have a webcam, like a cheap webcam that has a ring light on it and a zoom feature, which took me forever to find, let me tell you. Just on an arm on my desk, and that's it. Oh no, that's not it. I have a microphone. I still sort of kind of sometimes stream on Twitch, but I used to stream on Twitch 3 days a week for 4 hours a pop. And so I had gotten a Blue Yeti mic for that. And so I still have it, so I use it for this. And my Flosstubers. So I'm still getting use out of it, because it wasn't like uber expensive, but it's not a cheap, it's not a cheap piece of equipment. So I have that. That's just the mic that's always on my computer whenever I use a mic. So that's it. It's just a cheap webcam and the mic. And like I said, the webcam has a light attached to the ring light, or has a ring light attached to it, so I don't have any extra lighting or anything, and I just use the camera app on my computer, and that's it. Nothing really fancy. I did do a few on my phone to start with. I don't know why. I was just like, oh, I can maybe zoom in better or something on the phone. But then it takes so long for them to upload to the cloud, so then I can get them on YouTube, or I uploaded them directly from my phone to YouTube, and then I can't add like my intro little caw or like the picture of the piece. So I don't use my phone anymore. I don't even know what the brand is of this camera, but I think it was like $40. So that's it. So we'll leave it there for the day for the questions, and then the next time I do a talking stitch with me, we'll answer some more. So we got one diagonal done already on this one. This one's not as confetti heavy in the beginning here, like in Cathedrals of the Forest was last week, so getting a bit quicker stitching in here. It's not the hole I wanted to go into, but it still works. It's fine. Alright. We are going to leave that there for today. We got 221 stitches in out of 196,350, and that is 0.11%. But not too shabby for a new start in an hour. So thank you all for joining me. The next stitch with me will be up, I don't know when, quite frankly. I'm going to do Lothlorien, and it's going to be, again, the quiet one. So whenever I feel like doing it, I get it up. But thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed me answering the questions. If you have any questions, just go to the post tab and scroll down. I think it's the second post up there at the minute from the top. and just add a comment with your question, and I'll just keep going through them. So I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend. And I'll see you on Monday for the regular floss tube. Please stay healthy, stay safe, and happy stitching. And we'll see you next time.